Hi, my name is Mrs. Layton, and I'm excited to be your teacher with Epic Charter Schools. I look forward to meeting you and getting to know you and your family. Not every student is the same, and I want to be able to meet your needs and help you to be successful. I will not move on until we as a team are comfortable with your progress and your understanding. A lot of areas that we will cover can be found in several subjects. So there will be times where I will cover two standards with more than one subject. Looking over your student data report from the ACT test, I see some areas that I can help you with. And one area that I'm going to focus on first is with statistics and probability. I have an activity just for this area that will help you, and I'll be able to explain this activity in just a moment. Another area that needs help is modeling. Modeling shows up in both math and science and in our everyday lives. So this activity will cover modeling for both math and science. So the lesson plan that I've created for helping you with probability and statistics and modeling is called the Starburst probability. First, we will talk about what different types of models there are and where you can find them in our everyday lives. And some of those models that we will look at or talk about is graphs. We see graphs in many places where we're going to have to interpret it and find out what the graph is trying to tell us and what information it is giving us. And if we have data, we need to know what kind of graph we need to be looking for. So we're going to go over some of the different types of graphs, whether it be a bar graph or a line graph, and we'll also look at a plotter, scatter plot graph. And we'll also look at some other models that could be diagrams or pictures, and kind of see what those diagrams are trying to explain to us and where we can use them. So the activity that I have, like I said, is called Starburst probability, and it is going to go hand in hand with science, and in particular with life science when we're talking about Punnett squares and finding or talking about the probability of what the offspring are going to be of animals or even plants. And so with this activity, we're going to be using Starburst. It's always fun when you get to eat what you are using for your activity. And so we'll have two different containers, and we'll put 3 Starburst in one and 4 in the other. And you're gonna create a grid that our data is going to go into. And I love being able to use other devices or other ways of creating graphs. So instead of having a graph already made out on paper, you are going to create this graph on the table using tape. And so we will use the table and create this graph. It'll be a 3 by 4, which means you'll have 3 columns or 4 columns and 3 rows. And so our starburst will be placed on the outside, and like a Punnett square, we're going to match them up, and then we're going to look at the probability of a particular outcome and how often that outcome will show up in our data table. And then we're going to analyze the data and be able to answer some questions, and also be able to write out some of our thoughts, some questions, and be able to write out some answers rather than just writing down numbers. So we've got to be able to work on being able to think through a process and be able to write out our thoughts.